Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ video right here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRift NoDQ. This is episode number 1125. As I do every 25 videos, this will be an extended edition with more of your questions. If you do enjoy today's video, please share it, spread the word about NoDQ. And with that being said, let's get down to your questions. First one today comes from Garrett Mills. I think Kofi Kingston deserves a WWE or Universal Championship reign before he retires and not as a part of the New Day. Your thoughts? I feel like Kofi Kingston winning the world title would be a really amazing feel-good moment. And I did talk about this on NoDQ Live and during the NoDQ review. Timing is everything. I look at Elimination Chamber, I feel WWE should have called an audible. Kofi was just so over in that match. The fans were behind him. And I think if Kofi had won the title, that would have generated a lot of positive buzz for WWE. Kofi is one of those guys that is very well respected, not just from his peers, but also the fans. And he's been at the forefront of many significant WWE storylines over the years. He's been with the company for over a decade. He's provided lots of memorable moments, but somehow, despite all that, and despite the success with the New Day, I feel like he's been under the radar a little bit. Maybe one of the most underappreciated talents in the history of WWE. So yeah, one could argue, well, the WWE champion should be the biggest draw, but we're in a totally different era now, and I feel what's important now is creating memorable moments, feel-good moments, and I think Kofi winning would be one of those types of moments. The question is, did WWE miss the perfect opportunity to do it? If WWE did do it at Fastlane, would it have as much of an impact? And if it doesn't happen at Fastlane, sometime down the line, would that be the right time, or will the momentum be gone? That's the big question. Got this one here from Kit. How about this? Kofi Kingston goes on to face Bryan for the WWE title and wins. The rest of New Day come out to celebrate, only for Big E to turn on Kofi and Xavier, setting up a three-way for the WWE title. Your thoughts? Well, I've made this clear for a while. I would love to see a triple threat match between the New Day. I feel like the act has gotten stale, but at the same time, I could see the other perspective. You have the New Day, they work well as a trio, and one could argue they're better off together than separate. But if all three of them were going to get a big push, a New Day triple threat, I think, for the WWE title especially, would be a hot match. I mean, the New Day has been one of the hottest acts in the company, so to see them finally explode and have their triple threat match, if done correctly, I think that it would be incredible. It would be a great match, and I think it would be very entertaining to watch. But realistically, I feel like that's probably not going to happen. My gut feeling is that they'll stick around together as a team, and even if Kofi wins the title, they will probably stay together as a tag team. Got this one here from Naim Nader. How would you feel about a babyface Bray Wyatt? See, I'm just trying to move through this so quickly. Bryant. How about face Bray Wyatt versus heel Bryan at WrestleMania? After Bryan wins Elimination Chamber with the help of Harper and Rowan, Bray's music hits and build. Well, clearly this was an old question because Elimination Chamber has come and gone. Now, could WWE still put Bray Wyatt in that match? Absolutely, and I think he's actually been a name that has been rumored to possibly be put in that main event slot against Bryan. Bryan is affiliated with Rowan right now. The question is, will Harper get involved? Will Bray Wyatt get involved? I feel like WWE should do something significant with Bray Wyatt, but are they going to put him in a WWE title match, have him show up on SmackDown? Again, I feel like I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm not going to get my hopes up that WWE is going to actually do something significant with Bray Wyatt. I feel they should. He's been gone for a while. You can bring him back. You can put him right in there in a main event program, I think, without any major issues. I think the fans would accept it. But still not going to bet money on it that it's going to happen. Got this one here from 40. We could possibly get a big money angle storyline at WrestleMania if Dean Ambrose leaving really is a work. Something similar to CM Punk's story, but without the title. Your thoughts? This could be really interesting. Dean Ambrose coming out and just dropping the pipe bomb, venting his frustrations, and just giving us this promo that hits home really hard, saying he's frustrated with the company, he should be the biggest star there, and there's greener pastures elsewhere. That would be huge. I would love it, considering what CM Punk's pipe bomb did for traffic. As long as it wasn't too much of a copycat, if WWE could take that basic idea and maybe change it up a little bit and make it something new and refreshing, I would love to see it. I would love to see Dean Ambrose break the fourth wall. We haven't had one of those types of promos in a while, so I would be all for it, and it could be the thing that Ambrose needs to get his career back on track. Got this one here from Cody. Revival winning the belts, championships, sorry Vince. Are WWE trying to revive, no pun intended, the division, or is it all work and they're just trying to make the Revival happy? Vince notoriously hates tag teams and factions. Your thoughts? Allegedly. I'm not sure if Vince really hates tag teams or not. I mean, tag teams have been a focal point in WWE for decades. It's not like WCW, where at one point Eric Bischoff actually completely got rid of the tag team division in 1998 and then resurrected it a few months later. Remember when they had Judy Bagwell as one half of the tag team champions? I mean, it hasn't gotten that bad, so I still think there is some value in the tag teams as far as Vince is concerned. Now, with that being said, I feel, Revival, they're probably just being given the titles, so they'll be happy, so they'll stop complaining, so they'll stop asking for their release. WWE knows that they're a talented team and they could succeed elsewhere, so they're finally getting their act together as a company and doing something with these guys, which quite frankly, they should have done a while back. Revival had some great matches in NXT. It was obvious that these guys had talent, but unfortunately injuries played a role in stalling their momentum, but WWE never really invested all the way in them. Now they're doing it, and of course that big question is it too little too late? Got this one here from Cruz. Is it fair that Muhammad Hassan was basically blackballed is what I meant to say, out of wrestling for playing a character that Vince and company made him do? It's not fair, but life is not fair. Muhammad Hassan was a great character. He played the role really well, and Daivari did a great job as well. But unfortunately, WWE went a little too far with the character, and you had the London terrorist attack, and there was all this negative publicity coming off of that, and then WWE was doing that angle with the guys in the masks. It was just bad taste, bad timing, and WWE felt that they had to drop the character. They caved into pressure. They were worried about the image, and this was before the company went to PG, so you knew it was pretty bad. And I feel bad for the guy because they just completely gave up on him. They didn't try to repackage him with a new gimmick, nothing. He had all this momentum, and then bam, it was over, and he was gone. So yeah, I feel really bad, but these things happen every now and then, and sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I think that's what happened with Muhammad Hassan. Got this one here from SCW Wrestling Channel. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on RVD and Sabu returning to Impact Wrestling to take on the Lucha Brothers at United We Stand? I really don't have that many thoughts. I don't care. I'm indifferent. RVD was a great talent in his heyday, but I feel like this is him collecting a paycheck and nothing else, quite frankly. Sabu's heyday was 20 years ago. I really have no desire to see him wrestle again. And when you look at his Twitter profile, it's hard to even like the guy, you know, on a personal level based off of what he said. So I really don't want to see the match. I don't care. It's a desperate attempt to get some nostalgia and say, hey, look at this. Two of these awesome guys from ECW facing two of the current lucha guys, you know. I don't care. I don't feel any emotional investment towards it, and it's not going to make me interested in checking out the Impact show, the pay-per-view, United We Stand, whatever it's called. Not interested. Got this one here from Cali Uncensored. Since Mark Calloway was one of WWE's most tenured and loyal stars, is it likely that WWE would grant him a shared licensing agreement to use the Undertaker name for non-wrestling appearances outside of WWE, similar to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? I suppose it's possible. I think the problem here is not the fact that Mark Calloway is using the Undertaker name outside of WWE. I think the issue is that Undertaker is doing an event that is closely associated with All Elite Wrestling. Now, granted, Conrad Thompson has stated publicly that he's not being paid by All Elite Wrestling, and this is his own endeavor that's separate. They're just happening to run the event in Las Vegas the same weekend as Double or Nothing. So it is what it is. Take it for what you will. But I think that Vince probably feels a little betrayed by that The Undertaker would do this event, because that's going to naturally just garner more buzz for Double or Nothing, which, you know, All Elite Wrestling is attempting to become the number 2 promotion, and they're trying to be an alternative to WWE. So yeah, from Vince's perspective, this is like an act of betrayal. So WWE may aggressively try to fight it. We'll have to wait and see what happens with this, but definitely an interesting development here to see Undertaker do this after all these years of loyalty to WWE. Now, some would argue that people are reading too much into this, and Undertaker's not going to burn any bridges, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened in wrestling, so you never know. We might look at it and see that Undertaker and WWE, they might have like this perfect marriage, but when you look deeper, maybe there's some issues going on. Who knows? I mean, it's definitely interesting to see how this all plays out in the coming months. Got this one here, another one from Cody. Aaron, what is going on with the constant burial of the Riott Squad, and more specifically, Ruby and Liv? They both have great personalities, good workers, yet WWE always books them to lose when it counts. The Riott Squad, at least they're getting TV time. There aren't a lot of acts that get as much TV time as the Riott Squad. They seem to be on TV every single week now. They're not being pushed really strongly. They're more or less putting over other talents, whether it's Sasha Banks and Bayley, or the Bellas, or Ronda Rousey. The Riotts, they're just the solid mid-card heels on Raw. I mean, that's their role. And like I said, at least they're getting TV time. At least they're getting the exposure. Could WWE do more with them, specifically Ruby? Probably. But the first thing they need to do is ditch that music, especially if they're going to be heels. If they're going to be turning face, or if Ruby's going to turn face, keep the music. But I still get triggered by the fact that Ruby comes out there and you have this happy oi, oi, oi music that doesn't really fit heel characters. Just my opinion, though. I mean, CFOs know way more about music than I do, so who am I to judge? Got this one here from Nikki. Hey, Aaron, if the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania 35 is a triple threat, would you do it elimination style? That way, Charlotte would be eliminated first, and we would have Becky versus Ronda. I believe it was Bully Ray that came up with that idea. I'm not sure, but I think it's a great idea. You know, you could do the triple threat match, and then you can have Charlotte eliminated, and then you can have it one-on-one, Becky versus Ronda, which is what the fans have wanted in the first place. So everybody's happy. Vince gets Charlotte in the main event, and the fans get their one-on-one Becky versus Ronda. So I'm all for it. I love the idea. Triple threat match, elimination style. I say WWE should go with it. That way, you get the most amount of heat for the match, and then the fans, in the end, can get what they want to see. And hopefully, Becky ends up beating Rousey to win the title. Got this one here from our own TJS. And happy belated birthday, by the way. Do you think that they're going to bring back Kevin Owens as a comedy act or a jobber? These promos don't look very promising. Popcorn and pizza eating? What's the deal with him saying he doesn't know which show he'll be on? Injured stars can switch brands? Well, the way it is right now, WWE doesn't really take the brand extension all that seriously, and maybe in storyline, if you're gone for a certain amount of time, you become a free agent. I don't know. I'm just trying to find some kind of logic in this. I don't think it's a death sentence yet. I mean, some people are laughing at the idea of him eating popcorn, and he looks like he's in better shape. So why would this even happen in the first place, where he's eating popcorn and you're basically portraying him as a slob when he actually looks like he's dropped some weight and looks to be in the best shape of his career? You got me. But I suspect he's going to get a big push, and he may even be a candidate to face Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. So maybe that's why they're teasing him going on a different brand, because there's talk about him actually facing Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania and giving Owens this big WrestleMania push, which would be awesome. My feeling is he'll probably show up after WrestleMania, but if he comes back before WrestleMania, that's cool with me. I'd love to see it. Got this one here from Boogeyman79. Who do you think will induct DX into the Hall of Fame? I say Iron Mike Tyson. Your thoughts? Well, that's what Virtue said. Virtue said Iron Mike Tyson. It would be cool to see Mike Tyson one more time, but you could just have him show up and make a cameo. He's not really going to be able to give a very good speech, although, as Virtue would argue, most of the time is going to be with the DX members. You got a lot of guys part of the group, so they're all going to want their talking time. So theoretically, you can keep the induction speech relatively short with whoever's inducting them. So yeah, you could potentially do Mike Tyson. I mentioned The Rock as a possibility, or Mankind, somebody that was feuding with DX back in the day. You could always do Vince, and then as Vince is doing his speech, you can have them warp his speech again and screw around with it. So yeah, there's a number of possibilities. Just don't do Stephanie. Stephanie would be cringy, but the other names I mentioned, any of those names would be all right, even Tyson. Got this one here from John. What does WWE have to do to make the crowds more loud and interested? I thought Raw was really good last night, but the crowd really let the show down. Well, this was actually last week. This is an older question. The Raw in Lafayette, Louisiana. A couple of things. First of all, sometimes you're going to have a good crowd. Sometimes you're not. Even a hot product, you might have a cold crowd depending on the city. Just depends on where you're at. I think it's a combination of Lafayette not exactly being a hot wrestling town. Like, I don't really remember them being all that hot. They're like Corpus Christi, They have this reputation of being a fairly cold crowd and not being all that enthusiastic compared to like Chicago or Toronto or New York. And then the other thing is the product. If the product's not that hot, the fans aren't going to be as invested. And then there's something else to consider. How many of the tickets were freebies or heavily discounted? How many diehard WWE fans do you have there? If WWE is struggling to sell tickets and they have to either discount or comp a lot of tickets, then you're not going to have as many diehard fans there. And they're not going to be as into the product, and they won't react as much to what's going on during the show. So I think when you put all those factors together, you'll get your answer to why this Raw crowd wasn't particularly hot. Got this one here from a kid named Chris from MI ... Which of the new 4 NXT call-ups would you like to succeed the most on the main roster in their future with WWE? And who would you like to see that person feud with eventually? I'll be pulling for Ricochet. Well, I think all 4 of them are great. I think all 4 of them have a lot of potential to succeed. I could see Ciampa doing really well. I mean, quite frankly, I see all 4 of them doing really well. And WWE's already investing in them, having them go over main roster talents on both shows, Raw and SmackDown. I feel like Ricochet might have the most longevity if he can stay healthy. When you look at the other 3, Aleister Black, I think he has the best look overall. Gargano, arguably the best worker of the 4 when it comes down to just in-ring action. Ricochet does all the crazy acrobatics, but as far as just being a great wrestler in the ring, Gargano might be the best, and Ciampa's a great heel, might be the most interesting character of the 4. So they all have something to bring to the table. It's really hard to say which one will be the biggest star. So I really don't have a solid prediction on that one because there's a lot of variables. I mean, Ricochet could get injured doing all those crazy acrobatics, and then that might stall his momentum, as we saw with the Revival. So hard to say. All right, that will wrap things up for this edition of NoDQ Video. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting. You can send a question at twitter.com/AaronRift. Use the hashtag NoDQVideo. Buy a t-shirt like the NoDQ Galaxy t-shirt over at nodq.com/shirts. And of course, stay tuned to nodq.com for the latest Fastlane news and rumors. And on that, I will see you guys next time.